All right, it's Wednesday, December 27th. This is an end of the day SPY recap. And today on Tuesday, we end up with a 2-up green bar that kind of held above the midpoint of the prior day. So it looks like it was pretty easy continuation after yesterday's green bar that took out its target up here, but it really wasn't. I guess, first of all, if we go to the weekly chart, we're still green on the week. So we still have our opening price here at the purple line from Monday. And if any reversal takes place, we're going to have to get below that to turn that red and then see with a few days to go in the week if we can get back down to the halfway point of that prior week. So there's a way to go now to turn it red, but we could get that tomorrow with an actionable signal if we start below the midpoint of this bar and the pre-market range, is between the blue lines. We start lower, we could get a 2 down, and if we get a 2 down, then we target the lows of Monday, which would turn the weekly chart red. So we'll see if that unfolds tomorrow. Today, it looked like maybe you'd have a failure. Let's get into the price action, which again was a little tricky, but fortunately, with at least the approach I look at, didn't hurt you in any way, but you kind of knew what was going on after watching opening price action. So in other words, the blue lines were here between the the pre-market range between the blue lines. First bar ended up green, took out the pre-market lows for a second, then ended up green. So once you get a breakout above bar 1 inside the pre-market range, your target is that pre-market high. So obviously on the next bar, just briefly, it did get up there and take that out, and then it paused a little bit. If you're going to buy that right there, you have to know that you're looking for, that kind of key area to, really hold and follow through. I guess if you would look at the 1 minute chart or the 5 minute chart at that moment in time, when it was breaking through early, you'd see it kind of pausing, and not really following through. I wasn't too excited. A lot of stocks were down. I was buying NVIDIA puts at the time, and other stocks were down. So I kind of was monitoring this area. And actually, when it went down with this big red bar, I bought some puts here, feeling that, okay, we took out the pre-market lows, we took out pre-market highs, red bar. Let's see if this becomes a failure day now that kind of continues below the intraday low, gets maybe to the I knew it had to get to the halfway point of yesterday in order to confirm that. And what happened was, and I shot videos, I had about an hour where I was waiting and watching. This first move of the day should always be a kind of a strong, powerful move. When it wasn't, after an hour, I just exited at pretty much break even here and realized that, I don't know exactly what's going on. The overall bias is still up as we're above the midpoint of the prior day, but the structure on the day is still down here, given that we haven't really broken out above the first bar high. So anyway, price came up, it had a shooter bar, went down, then a bond auction was announced here, and the market shot up quickly. So okay, there was your chance that maybe the upward trend was going to kind of, for the day, unfold. But when I see a breakout here midday of a consolidation range, I want to see it hold and then continue. And this bar, if you look at it, it went up and took out those stops and then immediately had a big tail. So I was kind of monitoring these bars really closely, and then big red bar failure. So I wasn't surprised at all, given the choppiness, to see that develop. I wasn't convinced we were going up yet, even though we had a chance. And as it turns out, the market then comes down. And if you think about it, at this point, we're above the midpoint of the prior day, comes down real strong. Again, algorithmic price action, taking out stops all day long. Took out the stops here. Took out the first bar stop, took out the high stops, came down, took out the low of the day stops, took out the high of the day stops, came down, took out the low of the day stops, and then eventually paused and then continued high, by the last bar, moved up there in line with the uptrend in place. So it was a day where it was kind of gunning for stops higher and lower in a choppy area with an overall bias to the upside. And that's why this first move down failed and eventually moved higher. The second move down failed and eventually moved higher, and you end up with a 2-up day. So we will see if we get continuation higher tomorrow. That's a little clearer. Again, the only trade, according to my approach was to attempt, in my opinion, a put trade here just to see if you'd follow through. And even that wasn't an actionable signal per se. You were kind of anticipating you might get to the halfway point of yesterday. And given the fact that, your risk management is most important, you had an hour to kind of monitor that trade and not get hurt too bad. Once it then didn't follow through, you knew there was all kinds of things, all kinds of choppiness going on. This bar here, given the big selling tail and monitoring it, didn't follow through. And I don't really think this was a trade to taking out the lows of the day and then looking for a reversal back up. Given just my nature of in the afternoon, I'm looking for intraday highs and lows to be, tested, more on directional days. And in this day, I didn't know for sure if it would pause and go a lot lower or, as it turned out, move higher. So there was no action. There was really no trades according to the 15-minute chart other than that first one, and you didn't get hurt too bad. So on days like this, if you could, end up just kind of doing pretty much nothing, that's kind of a good thing. And then once the directional days hit, there'll be better trades and better opportunities. So that's, one of the things with at least the way I look at my method. It kind of protects you on the bad days and without too much problems. And on the very good days, there's plenty of opportunity. So we'll see if we continue higher. We know what the weekly reversal has to look like now. We'll have to kind of stop below the midpoint today and get a 2 down day. We'll see if that develops. If not, maybe this is just enough of a pause going on here, moving up yesterday, pausing, where it's ready for another leg up here in line with the monthly trend that still has room to run up closer to the 4,800 area. So we will see tomorrow if that unfolds, and just go where price action leads as always.